Welcome to the Orca Boat Shop, and my name is Rod. So we're going to take a break from boat building or doing any woodworking today. Today I'm going to upgrade the dust collection system in this small shop. Now I've been working with a standard dust collector that has, the dual bags, filter on top, heavy dust going into the bottom. I've had several dust collectors over the years, 110, 220, 2 horsepower, 1.5 horsepower, whatever worked for the electrical system in the shop that I was working in. In this shop, I'm running on 220 with a 2 horsepower motor. Because I never wanted to come over here and turn on the system every time, I did add a remote control system for 220, which plugs into the wall. We can just turn it on and or turn it off. So I can do. I particularly like the idea of a Cyclone system to collect the heavy shavings that come off the thickness plane or even the table saw itself. So I have been using this system here, which is just a massive brute garbage pail, and this Cyclone lid that we got from Veritas or Lee Valley Tools. It has worked, but now it takes up too much space because I have the dust collector and the filtering system and then this big bucket in the front here. So it is time to upgrade to a new system. I purchased an all-in-one Cyclone with a massive air filter on it. So we're going to see if we can switch over today. So the dust collector in 3 pieces fit perfectly in the back of the pickup truck with the canopy on. Trick was getting it out. The base is the motor is extremely heavy, so after about an hour of a little bit of engineering, I managed to take some of the heavier pieces out, slide it down a couple of ramps onto a dolly, and this piece here is probably well over 100 pounds. Now before I put what I believe to be probably the better part of the day to assemble this unit and get it installed and remove the old system, I want to make sure that the motor will actually run on the amperage I have. I have 220 on 20 amp breakers in here. My 3 horsepower table saw works, my thickness planer works, everything works on it. However, I do some volunteer work at a wooden boat place, and they just recently purchased, or actually was donated, a massive 3 horsepower dust collecting system from a different manufacturer, different brand. On the basic specs online, it said it required a 15 amp breaker. We built it, we had volunteers built it, set it up, plugged it in, and turned it on, and it immediately blew the breaker. We tried it thinking, okay, maybe there's something wrong on that breaker, tried it on a different unit. No. All of those were running on, I think, 20 amp breakers as well. And when we looked at the actual manual specifications, it stated it needed a 30 amp breaker. So this one says 15 amps, 3 horsepower motor on 220 power. I have plugged it in, sitting here on my dolly still, and I want to make sure this sucker's going to turn on without blowing the breakers because I can't change the wiring in here. So we're going to just switch off the emergency stop and see if she goes. Hopefully it doesn't blow the breaker. Well, there she goes. Step 1 is to attach the casters to the bottom of the base plate. So as I attach the bases, does it matter which way it goes? Because the switch goes into these 2 screws here, or 2 holes here, and personally I'd kind of prefer that the switch was on the left-hand side, but it doesn't appear I can do that because the support plate, which screws into these 3 holes, should be on the back side, so I need to switch that around. As long as the cord's long enough to reach the plug. Okay, we're just going to leave those loose until other parts are attached. Well, it's day 2. I didn't exactly get this unit assembled in one day as I'd hoped, mostly because this top portion here, I don't know, it's got to be at least 100 pounds, and there's no way I'm getting it up there by myself. So I had to wait till the family came home yesterday, and last evening myself, my wife, and 2 children of teenage age helped me lift it up there, and even then it was quite a struggle. And then trying to get the bolts to line up with poor visibility underneath there. But we got it done. Got a few more bolts to go in, and the rest should be pretty straightforward to assemble. So we're going to carry on today and hopefully get it into the corner there and plug it in. Time to attach the lever arms that are going to lift the collection up and down without things falling off. I don't know what that does. And we're just attaching the lever arm. It's going to lift the attachment basin up and down. Don't imagine I really should be putting that down too tight. Alright, now trying to get the flexible hose onto here. That's a nasty little bit of work to try and feed it up and over. You can't actually get the wires over, so really I suppose all they're asking you to do is at least get the extra piece of rubber sticking up so that we can seal this up. Okay, so I did not notice that the center pole actually is not on center. I'll put the barrel in, it wouldn't line up. So back to the drawing board on that one. This is to be shallower at this back end of it. Otherwise it'll never sit. Yeah. Otherwise it won't sit flush to the barrel. In, lid comes down. Now there is a vacuum hose that's going from the Cyclone at the top to the barrel at the bottom. I'd be interested to know sort of what the purpose of that is. I'm assuming it is to bring the air out of the barrel, or heavier articles that have gone in there, I don't know. The only difficulty I see with that is taking the barrel out and emptying it. You have to disconnect the hose each time. It's a bit odd to me, but I'm sure there's some sort of technical reason as to why this line needs to be on here. So by getting up on the chair and using my foot to hold the filter up here, because, well, of course in the manual it says get a friend to help you, but this is a one-man shop, so gotta be creative sometimes. Just able to get the nut driver in here on the impact driver. Makes it go a lot faster rather than having to get in there with an open-ended wrench or socket. Now we put the cover on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 5 bolts left. Got to be one on the floor somewhere. And while I'm up here, I attach the handle, which is for cleaning the filter inside. You can do this, clean it off. Now, I can never understand, when companies make the stuff, why can't they make that nut that's going in or that bolt that's going into there the same size as all? I have switched my nut driver to 4 different sizes on this project. Well, it is what it is. That's pretty loud. Last piece of the puzzle is just attaching the cover. Guess I jumped the gun on putting the outlet port on here, but that's an easy one to take off because I need to get that over top of it first, and it doesn't fit. Well, the Magnum Industrial, 3 horsepower, 220, lots of CFMs on this puppy, is assembled and is functional. I just need to rework some of the piping around. I'll bring it up, over, and down so that the blast gate is maybe a little higher so I don't have to reach down the floor to hook things up. I'm going to probably look at maybe making some magnetic connections on some of the locations because there's this plastic 4-inch pipe, flexible hosing. It's a real pain because it falls off. I don't clamp it on because I keep having to move my vacuum system from one machine to the other. I mean, obviously I could put several machines on here, but I don't really need to. I'm never really using one machine at a time. So I've cut away a little bit here. I can't get it in the corner yet because of the 4-inch pipe that's running on the floor. I will likely move my little vacuum here, which I use for dust collection on the sanders. That's not a problem. I can easily remove. Nothing is glued together. I never glue any of the pipes together, vacuum lines, because you're always moving things around. But remote control. I would say that it's probably not all that much quieter. It might actually be louder than the last one. However, I will probably likely use it more because it's actually going to bowl the dust when I need to. Like when I'm on the table saw, even with the dust collector hooked up, I still have to go in and clean underneath the table saw, and it really should be cleaning it up. So that's it for now. Can't wait to get this puppy into operation and part of the shop. It's pretty big in the corner there, but really doesn't take up much more of a footprint than the other one did. It's just a bigger structure. And with that one-day project completed, it's time to get back to some boat building. Working on the Black Pearl here, and we'll soon be setting up for the fairing design, the Elfin. So thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you next time.